There is one thing that you can do that can increase your vertical instantly. I'm talking 15 to 30 minutes, you're gonna jump a couple of inches higher. Do you know what that is, John? Do you have any guesses?
Cough medicine?
That's one. No, I'm just caffeine,
Caffeine? Is it
crack.
is it you watching my sessions and belittling me?
Yes. Adrenaline.
Um, new
Or
shoes? I feel
maybe
like Austin.
they're
This feels like
grippy.
Austin when Austin like gives examples. Is it finding a good court?
Yes, potentially, but not
Uh,
not that's not quite there.
uh, Anxiety?
That's adrenaline.
Not eating for
All
2
right,
days to lose
enough,
weight?
enough, peasant. It's jump
Peasant.
technique. It
Jump
is
technique?
jump technique. Yes.
Oh, are we gonna cover 1 foot or 2 foot? Let me guess. It's probably gonna be 2 foot because that's what we always do.
Screw one footers.
Oh, that's cruel. No, I think we could do it for both. I think we do it for both. So what
Well,
are your
specifically the penultimate step. We're
penultimate step
specifically talking about the penultimate step.
for 2 foot and 1 foot? Okay, I could probably list 3 for 1 foot, I think.
Yeah.
So I have a couple for 2 foot. 2 foot's a lot easier to like technically cue because it generally is the same for everyone. So
Yeah.
let's first address this. Short penultimate, long
Well,
penultimate.
what is the penultimate? What is the penultimate step?
It's like the last step. Actually, I consider it the third to last step in 2 foot.
Really?
Yeah, because it's the third to last contact or second to last. It's of the 3 contacts in the last 3
Oh,
contacts. It is
yeah.
the third. It is the earliest
Yeah.
in the approach.
The
So I
third to
consider
last or the second to last. The step prior to the second to last contact.
contact. Yeah, I was gonna say, how do you say that?
The big one.
That big one. Well, not if you're a long short guy.
Yeah. Then it's the ugly one.
Yeah, you can be an ugly duckling or a beautiful
Yeah.
geeseling. And
And we both said "and" at the same time. That was
I know,
beautiful.
and I'd rather see you be the most beautiful goose in a gaggle than the ugliest duckling in a, I don't know what a group of ducklings are called, but that's what I would rather you be.
Yeah.
So let's go through. We can do both. That's fine. A group of ducklings is called a brood, which sounds terrifying. If you want to be the ugliest duckling in the brood or the most beautiful goose in a gaggle, we're going to go through both of these for 2 foot. So if you are, and then we'll go through speed jumping, power jumping, because that'll also be relevant. Maybe high jump, dunking differences, because those are our 2 main demographics. So for 2 foot, give me one thing in a beautiful goose example, a beautiful butterfly. What do you like to see? What is a major tip that you would give? Let's stick to
So
tips. Let's make this actionable.
big positions. I always look for big positions in an approach. And what that looks like on the penultimate specifically is a big split. So by split, I mean
So big split, that's your first one?
big split between your front foot and your back foot. Really big split.
I like that. You know what my second one is?
And
One
and
of
I
my
have
favorite.
some standards for what I consider
Yeah.
a big
But we'll
enough
just keep
split.
this very simple. So give me
Yeah.
like what your
I
one
would
standard.
say front leg, it's like 90-90, right? Your hip is at a 90-degree angle, your knees at a 90-degree angle, while your back knee is behind your butt.
Okay, so these are all cues I like, I've used before. And the one I'm going to pick is drive the knee. I think that is probably one of the biggest mistakes people make on 2 foot is that they do not drive their plant leg knee. That will give you a big split. So I would say drive the knee is the biggest cue I could give, and drive
I
it
have
as hard as you can forward, not upward. I don't know why you always get those, little things, but I think it's like,
and it's never when I try.
it's never when you try. Yeah. It's always random.
I
So
have a second backup tip if that one doesn't work, and I think this one actually has been working better. And it
okay,
helped Jaden.
let's
Jaden
go.
Suarez.
All right. So number 1 was big split. Number 2, drive the knee. What's number 3?
Push the hips forward. Hard.
See, that means nothing to me in my mind as a high jumper. I think
I'm talking about this. And
like humping
you should
forward.
feel stretch in your front leg and your rec fem, but it's this.
Yeah. Oh, Papa. Okay, so yours
Nathan, clip that.
You can clip that. Nathan, add that to the clip. Dude, you wait until you see the intro of the next video. It is so funny. He made the most glorious conglomeration of stupid Did you see what I put on my story, by the way, today?
No.
Please look at it right now on the podcast and put
Do you want me to
the video up to, if you can, that would actually be even better. And
you're the first person. You are the first person.
Yeah, because you watch my stories. That's why.
Yeah.
And I tagged your name. I didn't tag you, but I put your name in it.
All right, let's watch.
Look at it. Look at it.
Bro, that is so funny. That is literally so funny. That is us.
You can't tell me that's not us when we lifted the other day. Because there's one point in the lift at the beginning of the lift where we're like, oh my God, dude, that is so beautiful. Anyways, so yeah, I don't know how that was related, but
we were we took it. It
oh yeah. Slight segue there. So so yours is big split, drive the knee, and then you said push the hip forward. Is that what you said?
Push the hip forward, feel a stretch in your
Oh, that's a fifth one.
All right, there you go. 5 penultimate step tips.
No, that's the fourth. I'm sorry. All right, so this is
actually kind of fall into the same.
Yeah, no, I think they're all different cues though. They're all different cues. Yes, that's the goal. That's the outcome. But they're different cues. Like the first one, big split, is a visual cue. Yeah. Drive the knee is a external cue. Like you would say, knee the midget would be. Yeah. That's an internal cue, I think.
Little person.
External would be
little person.
Knee the little person. 3 would be push the hip forward is kind of internal, external. I think it's internal technically because you're focusing on your hip, not it relative to an external object. I don't know. That's a confusing one. And then feel a stretch. That's an internal cue. That's a tactile internal cue. So that's one I like too. I like to cue sensations because they're very good for feedback. And if you feel a stretch, odds are you're probably doing it right. So I like to feel a stretch in my hip. That's how I know I'm doing it right. And if I drive my knee and I feel a stretch, I know I've done it correctly.
That's the OG for me. And it's probably the one I use when I'm trying to take a bigger penultimate step. Yep. Push back behind you hard. Push hard.
Push back. Push back. I like that. So these are the 5 that we listed that I think we like the most. 1 is big split. That was a good one. 2, drive the knee. I like that one. I have a 6th one actually. 3, push the hip forward. When I'm going max effort, that just like happens. I don't know. I don't really use that one too often, but if it works for you, it works for you.
That one specifically helps people that kick instead of drive the knee.
And push your pelvis forward. I like that. Push them nuts forward. 4, feel the stretch.
Swing them balls.
Swing them balls forward, not up, forward. Feel the stretch.
Swing them down, technically.
Swing them down. Yeah, go down, not up. But I like forward. That works too. 5,
drag your nuts on the ground might be a good one.
Drag them nuts on the ground. 5 is push back hard. And 6 is, I lost it. I had it for, dude, the one word that comes to mind is like plant your penultimate step at the right spot. Or like, I think about it like a lily pad. Hit the freaking lily pad with your penultimate step. So for me, it's like around the free throw line, just inside. I know if I plant my penultimate step and I do everything else right, that step needs to come down about at the free throw line.
Yo, boy. Yes. And there's a second thing that has to happen if you do that. Jump from the same spot.
Yeah. Yep. You can't jump further back.
A lot of people just
peek at the rim
farther and like plant farther and take off farther. No, you have to plant in the same spot.
And then I would say, okay, so let's do this one because this is also pretty relevant. Biggest mistakes we see. Number one, pushing your head, hips up, pushing upward off the
Yeah,
penultimate step. That's
jumping.
probably the biggest
Yep.
mistake I see. When people try to do this, they jump upward and it turns into a jump stop. The key is to push forward and downward, or at least level. Definitely not up. Up is the wrong direction. It at least has to either be level or slightly downward is the direction you want to travel. And that can be hard for people to do, but that's why I say drive the knee. Sometimes looking downward can help with that initially until you get good at it and you start to understand it. But yeah, I would say that's the biggest one I see. Second mistake is people plant the block foot at the wrong time and they swing the arms at the wrong time. So you have to be coordinated. I think you have to have those timed appropriately. And it should be like, for me, it feels like a push. I'm in free fall. And then my arms and block foot, as soon as my plant foot hits, if I'm jumping hard, it's like in unison. I get big positions and everything is very closely timed from plant to block. And my block foot and arms are timed almost perfectly. That's when I know I'm going to jump really high and transfer a lot of horizontal momentum vertically.
Timing is huge. When I have good jump days, when I have good jumps during any jump day, it's usually based off of timing. That's so prominent when I do vert testing. Like it's so that's the biggest factor. Anytime I'm at max intent, that is the number one thing. Like, mind you, at my experienced elite level, thousands and thousands of reps in, it's still I still mess it up. Like, and specifically, it's like the arm swing with the block foot, and then getting those last two steps like really quick and just like that, timing that as the block foot is hitting, like my hand should be at the very bottom of the apex, and time that up.
Bottom dead center, like a piston
Yep.
coming down. Bottom dead center. So you know what's interesting about this? The thing I remember being the most difficult for me was footwork. Understanding your plant foot is like this. Like this, and your block foot is kind of like, so I don't know if I can show it like this. So if I'm right left, this is my plant foot, this is my block foot. Understanding that was really hard for me because I lacked internal rotation. So how I fixed that is I just twisted 90 degrees. So I would plant kind of like this and then plant the block foot in line with my heel. That always helped me a lot because I lack mobility. If you have good mobility and you can plant like Isaiah, definitely do that. But that was one of the biggest struggles for me. Technically was that. And two was being able to feel elastic on the block foot. That was so unnatural for me. I wanted to do a squat or clean. I wanted to step.
Really interesting.
Step. That was what naturally my body wanted to do. And if you watch videos from 2017, 2016, that is what I do. I literally take a step, and push upwards. It almost is like an off vert or like a rolling contact on a vertec. Now I'm able to use the elastic energy in my left leg, which was not natural for me. And I'm a 1 foot jumper. So like I'm elastic on my left leg, but I could not time it or understand how to do that. Like that was so foreign to me. I remember being so frustrated no matter how much I practiced. I could not do it. And because I always tried to do this, plant my right foot and plant my left foot like this and, hit on the ball of the foot. You know what else really helped me? Connor Barth said this. He said, I plant my block foot as hard as I MFing can. I slam that thing through the floor. And that also really, really helped me because it helped me understand how to use the elastic energy in that step. And another thing that was really hard was getting the block foot in front of the body. So like the better this foot is in front of the body, the more horizontal momentum you can transfer vertically, typically. Not always, but generally. Like CJ, Voldemort, people that run really fast, that Guy Oliver, they plant the block foot really, really far in front. And that is something that I couldn't do because I lacked flexion. The further the foot is in front of the body, the more my knee has to flex, and I lacked internal rotation. So I fixed that by taking my feet and just twisting them like this. So instead of having to have internal rotation be pigeon-toed, my feet were just kind of parallel. And I also took a narrower stance, and that's how I was able to use elastic energy. The downside is you're not strong when you're pushing laterally like that, like you are when you're pushing like straight on, So Lewis used to tell me all the time. I'll never forget this. I came down, it's like 2019. You tore your quad that day. And Lewis was like, square up. You got to square up. You got to square up. And I was like, I'm trying. I literally can't. And he just kept saying, no, you just got to walk up, square up. And he made it look so easy. And I was like, I physically can't do that unless I'm doing the squatty frog jump. And that always stuck with me. And it wasn't until I learned that I had to make some adjustments for my individual style or my individual mobility that I was able to work, which is why we always say internal rotation is so important, and why Isaiah has more internal rotation on his block foot, his right leg, and his left leg, or definitely your right leg, right?
Yeah.
You have no external rotation on your right leg.
No.
Yeah, because you're always internally rotated on that foot, which is crazy. So that's something I remember really vividly for what it's worth. Another cue that worked, which was weird, was like B-skipping on my plant foot, but then like keeping my shoulders forward, because I would drive the knee and lean back. So that was another problem I had, and I had to learn that I had to drive my knee and keep my shoulders forward and down. That way I wouldn't pop
B-skip
up.
is a really good way to describe it. It's like knee, foot, knee, foot. Most people are like that. Their whole leg moves in a unit. It should be ding, 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 not this.
And then the last one was the block foot. I didn't get a big push and feel a stretch. I would try to be too quick after rolling my foot through the ground on the penultimate step. I would try to whip it around really quick instead of like pushing and being patient and allowing myself to feel a stretch. And then I'm snappy after I'm in flight. So it's like wait, float, bah, plant foot, block foot, swing all together. It's like push, float in the air, and then explode off the floor. Use all the energy vertically. So that helped really a lot too. So yeah, I mean, another way I thought about it was like leaning into the ground or staying close to the ground when I was approaching. That helped me a lot too. I mean, I'm not a 45-inch jumper, but I think considering the fact that I have poor mobility and I improved a lot relative to the beginning. Like I wouldn't say I'm a good 2-foot jumper, but I do think I improved a lot. Like, dude, when I started, I was ugly. I was an ugly duckling. I was the ugliest duckling in the brood. And now I'm like a mediocre looking goose in the gaggle, you know? That's how I'd say it. And you're like the leader, you know, you're the leader of the V, you know, you're the most beautiful goose of the gaggle. You might even be a swan. Like, I'll take it. I'll take it. So
I think my technique actually it works well.
bro, I think yours is, I think you do some really interesting things that other people don't do.
It's different. I'll say that.
Dude, when you lean back a little bit and you're like vertical like this, your chest is like vertical coming in. Dude, your plant foot, when it hits, your pelvis literally goes and pushes you into this position. Like the braking force is there from that collision of your femur yeeting your pelvis backwards. You come forward like this, like if this is your plant femur and this is your torso, you're like in flight, like, and then you hit and your shoulders come forward.
And then the block foot, like, is almost like a tripod.
Yeah, and then it's comes like, in. Dude, I can literally see it in my brain because I've watched it so many times. But I don't think it's bad at all. I wouldn't necessarily coach that.
No, I don't think it's bad. But
it's like the unintended consequences of jumping really high. That's what it looks like.
Yeah.
It's not something you think about, but it's something that happens when you
it's not like someone with like a beautiful approach. I think a guy's like name specifically right left athletes actually like Anthony Edwards, Travis Slade, a good one.
Superman Slade,
Donovan. Like it's like really fast, beautiful approaches.
Oh, speaking of this, did you hear that an individual called us Boy Scouts? How come I've just heard of this? Did you hear about this?
Sounds really familiar. I was reading that yesterday.
Wait, pause this. Someone called us Boy Scouts, and I thought it was hilarious. I think I might get a shirt that says Boy Scouts or a hat. Shout out Cam Gilmore for that.
It was him because he was like in the video. He was like, "No jump program," and then he was like dunking over and over again.
Wait, what? Cam did that?
Nah, I'm just gonna say the name. It doesn't fucking matter. It's Staples. He did a video of like.
Oh, it was a video.
Yeah, but it was a video. It wasn't like calling us out or anything, but it was him being like, "I'm 38 years old. Don't call me Unc unless your uncle's LeBron." And then it was like him like doing windmills, like 10 windmills in a row or something. And And then in the video he said no jump program. Like he like said that. He like emphasized it. And then I think this was the same day. I think the Boy Scouts comment was on Tony's post, but I don't remember too well.
Damn. So we're catching
Yeah.
strays, huh?
Yeah.
Hey, you know what I say? No friends in the industry. If you ain't THP, I'm not your friend. I literally have got to that point where I'm just like, I don't like. I have gotten asked to be on a few podcasts and things like that, and I've been putting it off because not because I don't like those people or anything, but I've just learned that I'm happier and my life is easier when I don't have to navigate relationships with people that I see
Yeah.
once a year, you know? And I mean,
Bro,
like, don't get me wrong. Like, I love Dan back.
that's about it.
Yeah, I love Dan. I don't know Tim Riley, but he seems like a really genuine guy.
Yeah, he seems cool. There's a few sprints guys that I follow on Instagram
Because
that
they don't really like cross that
yeah,
barrier.
and they like my stuff. They post good
Yeah.
research.
Yeah, like they're
Like,
pretty objective, and I think that's like part of being in sprints is that you have to be objective. You don't have the
yeah.
luxury of like being not very objective. Whereas a lot of other things, it's easy to be biased.
And with sprinting, there isn't the epidemic of freak athlete cell jump program.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not like that at
I
all
mean,
in the sprint
sometimes
world.
it happens, but sometimes
Not
it
to the
happens.
same extreme though.
No, not
Because elite sprinting has a track for like you have a path for success and you can it's a sport and you can become a coach and like all those things. You don't have to sell a sprints program to make a living.
That's more so with football guys. That's what you see.
Yeah.
Well, not even the athletes, but like I guess a couple.
Yeah.
No, not even really. But
But
you see a lot of athletes sell coaching programs, which is interesting.
yeah.
But that's either
I
here
will
nor
say to the previous point, our lives are so much better when we just ignore every
fun.
like I've been more on Instagram the last couple days and it's resulted
You're
in
less
like
unhappy.
you know
I mean, you're less happy.
it's resulted on a beef. I'm like the Chris Staples thing. I noticed that the other one, the poll that we saw.
Oh
like,
yeah, dude.
and it's
I mean,
all
some
a
of it's.
result.
I mean, it definitely like gives us things to talk about. You know,
It does. That's a
some
good point.
ammunition. But
That's a good
and
point.
it
Life is more
definitely.
boring, or life is less boring. I would say a little more not stressful, a little more stressful.
You're saying when you're on Instagram,
Yeah,
it says ChatGPT says stress is in the mind. The
yeah.
more you allow it to bother you, the more it will bother you. But the more you
I'm
can just take it for what it is and walk
yeah,
away from it and kind of look at it. Like I would say we're more secure in our business than we've ever been. So it's not like as much of a concern. But there's definitely things there's an appropriate level of social media consumption that is valuable, that can
yeah,
inspire me, that can motivate me, that can give me good ideas. So I'm very careful about who I follow, what I follow, who I have muted, who I don't have muted. And it
yeah,
can help me in some ways. But a lot of the time, I found that our team is so good that I don't generally need that. And I can get that information from the team and I don't have to worry about it. So
It's
yeah.
funny over the years, like because I've been pretty prone to getting into
Beefs?
arguments and shit and
You?
beefs.
Me? Us? What?
And it's funny. It always I've always backed it up every time. And now I'm at a level where I just feel like I can destroy anybody and like if you want me to destroy you dunking wise, I got you. And if you want me to destroy you like vertical jump wise, I got you. And before basically people are running out of things
They're like,
to
but your
shit
biceps are
on
small.
jumping wise. Cause like, bro, it's literally I've talked to you about this before. Like it's from the beginning, right? It was like low rims, then there was the dunks. Now it's you're plateaued. Now it's I don't know if you remember this where Guy Oliver said he was like, "Oh, you're not a good coach as it hasn't improved." Blah
Bro,
blah
I get
blah.
that. I get that so many times, and I think it's interesting. Like, I mean, I get a lot of hate. I get a lot of hate, and it's
Yeah,
part of the reason why I'm aware of it now. And
but
I actually
that comment specifically was when I was at 46.
really was that when
Yeah,
at Los Altos?
yeah,
A lot of the time, if someone says something about me, I'll just DM them and we talk about it. And if they're
Yeah.
like really kind of abrasive, I don't like to bring public attention to it specifically. I'll just talk to them, you know?
Yeah.
And I even did that with Voldemort, and he just went behind my back and started shit talking me to other people. And I was like, all right,
I have
well,
some stuff to talk to you about off camera, by the way, about
yeah.
that.
Well,
Actually,
regardless.
we can pause it. We can pause it real quick.
Wait. Let's just finish this out.
Okay.
Actually, I'm really dying to know, but my heart is racing. I don't know what this is about to mean. Pause this. And just like that, we time skipped, and I am now 40 minutes into the future, and I've learned tons of information. I feel way more intelligent. To be honest, I learned so much, it's hard to pick up where I left off. So, in short, in conclusion, we learned big picture, things to improve, pitfalls I had. Isaiah, we'll end it with this. What are some pitfalls you had in learning 2-foot technique? What were your biggest personal problems with learning 2-foot technique? Or did it just come naturally to you because you're a freak and nothing applies to you?
Biggest pitfalls.
With learning good jump technique.
Damn, you're taking me back, man.
I know. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to take you back, way back.
Fixing my arm swing was difficult. I used to like bend my arms back, and that was really hard habit to break. Accelerating.
Shout out my brother, by the way. My brother just texted me and said, I gave my students your life story today. My brother has a PhD in XViz, and he's a teacher at Elon.
That's
if you guys want to if you want to take the true John Evans path and you want to be like me, go to Elon and recommend Bill Evans.
The proper rhythm, I think, was my biggest challenge. I also used to crash my plant leg down like really badly. Like really badly. That was a huge habit that took a long time to break. There was actually a lot of struggles. I'm not gonna lie to you. There was a lot. I don't think I suffered to like an extreme. There was a lot of things that weren't perfect. That's what I would say. It's like right now, if you consider every aspect of it a 10 out of 10 or a 9.5 out of 10 in my technique, lots and lots of things were like 7s out of 10, 8s out of 10, and it took a long
like if you had to rate,
time.
okay, so let's say plant foot slapping down, not good.
Yeah.
Rhythm of the block foot.
No, just acceleration. Like rhythm of the whole approach wasn't perfect.
Really? So you started too fast and would slow down?
Yeah.
That's so interesting to hear. Okay,
Yeah.
arm
And the
swing.
only way I fixed it, you know what? The only way I was able to fix it is I only took 4 steps on my approach for like 2 years. It was like 2 years straight.
That makes perfect sense. That's why I tell people take 3 steps, like 3 contacts. That's what I say.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I say that just walk in and do the penultimate step from somewhere. I think 90% of your momentum needs to come from that step early on. Don't add momentum until you master that, because you can get 90% of the lowering in speed on that step.
Yeah.
Like the run-in might add, okay, for an expert, maybe the run-in adds like 20, 30%, but you're still like, most of your momentum should come from that stride if you do it right, and the positioning and things only add speed once you've mastered that, is what I would generally say. So, and then your arm swing, that was a tough one for you because you always wanted to keep this 90-degree kind of weird blocky looking thing.
Yeah, and even my arms while I ran and stuff, my arms were always weird. Like
you struggled with that. That's actually crazy. It's almost like you like literally struggled. You were a little bit of a motor moron with your approach.
Yeah.
You look stiff and awkward.
Yeah, for a while.
But
now you're bro, I was like hitting East Bays and stuff behind the backs with like
doo-doo. Mediocre approach. That is a lesson in staying the course and consistency. Isaiah easily could have been like, oh, well, I don't need to I don't need to do this. I'm hitting behind the backs and windmills. Why would I need to perfect anything else? This is a lesson in staying the course, sticking to it, and constantly trying to improve versus accepting the status quo.
I'm going to show you. We'll close this out. This will be the last thing that I show.
If you guys haven't watched the video yet, go watch the Travis Slade video. If you're interested on another long-term story of someone that went from being a little pipsqueak in high school, I'm talking 115 pounds as a junior, to being arguably one of the highest potential jumpers. I think one of the highest potential jumpers we currently coach.
Yeah, I should send an email out with that video, to be honest. Actually, my approach was decent. It You know what fixed it? Reps.
And reiterating.
Reps, looking at it. I will say this though, this is a big thing. I don't think I was ever overthinking a crazy
No,
amount
you
on
were
my approach.
just like one thing at a time. You're like, it's pretty good. Like it's 85,
Yeah.
90
Like I
of
would
the
do
way
a whole
there.
session, wouldn't think about my approach. I would look at the video, be like, today I'm gonna try 4 steps, do the whole session, not think about anything except that. Then a week later, be like, my arms look a little weird here. Let me try to tighten them up. I wasn't like hyper over analyzing. I would jump, look at it. Nah, this is
Bro,
wrong.
it's
Blah
because
blah.
the sensations. The sensations give you feedback. When I
Yeah,
know I do a good jump, I'm like, shit, I felt long, I felt strong, I felt fast, I felt
yeah,
quick, and I exploded everywhere.
yeah.
You like that?
Yeah. I like when you feel long and fast and you explode.
That was intentional in every way. But anyways, I think this is a good place to drop it off. I'll ask you more about this another time. Let's do 1 foot tomorrow.
All right.
Friday tomorrow, we'll do 1 foot tomorrow.
1
But
foot
thank you guys for
penultimate.
watching. I hope you enjoyed this. If you want the most science-backed, evidence-based, peer-reviewed, reiterated, perfected jump program coaching on the planet, go to THPstrength.com. We've got amazing coaches there, and we've helped, I think we're probably in the tens of thousands now of athletes that we've helped in the last 5 to 7 years. We are number one in the world at helping people dunk from 5'6" to 6'7", 15 years old to 50 years old. So we cover the gamut, all different walks of life. And if you guys want to try to, be your best self and achieve this goal of yours, go for it. I think we definitely can help you get there. So that's where I stand on that. And we will see you guys tomorrow. Boy Scouts Club out.
Boy Scouts.
Boy Scouts. Scouts honor.
What's the always be prepared?
Always be prepared. Scouts honor.